Hello everyone, welcome to LegaLift's English Grammar section, an initiative led by NALSAR students. In today's video, we are going to deal with adjectives. There are going to be two parts. This is the first part. I am Shivani. So let's start with the video. Adjectives. Adjectives are the words that modify or describe nouns. Example is like the yellow kite floated in the sky. Here we can see that the word yellow is describing or telling us about the kite. Next example is Kiran has long hair. Here we can see that the word long is describing the noun hair. Now the next point is adjective structures. So adjective structures refers to the various ways in which an adjective is used to modify a noun in a sentence. So it is of two categories. First one is attributive adjectives. Adjectives that are placed before the noun are known as attributive adjective. It means that when an adjective is used in a sentence to directly modify a noun by coming before the noun, it is known as attributive adjective. Example is like Ram was carrying an old briefcase. Here we can see that the word old is directly modifying the noun, that is the briefcase, by coming before it. Next example is the red car raced down the highway. Here we can see that the word red is modifying or describing about the car, that it is of red color directly. So when adjectives are used in this form, that is by placing or coming before the noun, we say that these adjectives are used attributively. Next category is predicative adjectives. Adjectives that follows a linking verb and describe the subject are known as predicative adjective. It means that when an adjective is following a linking verb and it is describing the subject of the sentence, then it is known as predicative adjective. So they are used after the noun in a sentence. Example is like the streets are long and narrow. Here we can see that the word long and narrow is following a linking verb, that is are, and it is describing the subject of the sentence, that is streets. Next example is that car is German. Here we can see that the word German is following a linking verb is and is describing the subject of the sentence, that is the car. So when the adjective is placed after the linking verb and is in the predicate, that is the part which tells us more about the subject, it is said that the adjective have been used predicatively. So from here we can ask that what is a linking verb? So a linking verb is a verb that connects the subject of a sentence with a word or phrase that identifies or describes the subject. So basically a linking verb is a verb that follows the subject, you can say, and it joins the subject with the word or phrase that identifies the subject. So they don't show action but rather a state of being or condition. So there are some common linking verbs like be, become, appear, feel, look, remain, seem, sound, get, go, grow, taste, smell, and so on. Example is like Shudha became head girl. Here we can see that the word became is linking the subject, that is Shudha, with the predicate of the sentence, that is head girl. Next example is the dog looked hungry. Here we can see that the verb looked is joining the subject, that is the dog, with the predicate of the sentence, that is the word hungry. Now the next topic is types of adjectives. First type is qualitative adjectives. The adjectives that tell us the kind or quality of a person or thing are called qualitative adjectives. These are also known as adjectives of quality. Example is like this is a round table. Here we can see that the word round is defining a quality of the table, that it is round. Next example is wrap this gift with golden paper. Here we can see that the word golden is describing a quality of a paper. Next type is quantitative adjectives. The adjectives that tell the quantity of things are called quantitative adjectives. These are also known as adjectives of quantity. Example is like the cat drank all the milk. Here we can see that all is telling us the quantity of the milk. Next example is there some water in the jug? Here we can see that the word some is telling the quantity of the water that is present in the jug. Next example is we don't have much time. Here we can see that the word much is describing the quantity of the time. Next type is adjectives of number. The adjectives that tell us the number of things or persons or the order of things or people in a series are called adjectives of number or numeral adjectives. Example is like there are 50 students in the class. Here we can see that the word 50 is describing the number of students in the class. Next is this is the first medical hall in the village. Here we can see that the word first is describing the order of the medical hall in the village. Next point is numeral adjectives are of two categories. First one is definite numeral adjectives. These adjectives state the exact number or definite number of things. Definite numerals are also of three kinds. First one is cardinals. These adjectives tell the exact number of things. Example is like 2 days, 5 fingers, 50 students and so on. Second one is ordinals. These adjectives tell the order of things in a series. Example is like first day, third position, sixth interview and so on. Third one is fractions. These adjectives refer to numbers less than 1. Example is like 1/3 part. Next type is indefinite numeral adjectives. These adjectives do not mention an exact number. Example is like several people, many children, few days and so on. Now let's have a look at this note. Some adjectives can be classified as adjectives of number as well as adjectives of quantity depending on their uses in a sentence. So it means that an adjective can be classified as adjective of number and it can also be classified as adjective of quantity depending on the usage in a sentence. So when an adjective is used with uncountable nouns in a sentence, then it is classified as adjective of quantity. But when the adjective is used with countable nouns, it is classified as adjective of numbers. We can understand this point with the help of examples. So let's have a look at these examples. First one is he has lost all his wealth. Here we can see that the word wealth is an uncountable noun. So the adjective used in the sentence, that is all, will be classified as adjectives of quantity. Next example is all participants must submit a letter. Here we can see that the word participants is a countable noun. So the adjective that is used in the sentence, that is all, will be classified as adjectives of number and will fall in the category of indefinite numeral adjectives. Next example is he did not drink any water. Here we can see that the word water is an uncountable noun. So the use of the adjective any will be classified as adjective of quantity. Next example is are there any charts in the book? Here we can see that the word charts is a countable noun. So the adjective that is used in the sentence, that is any, will be classified as adjective of numbers. Next example is I don't have enough money. Here we see that money is an uncountable noun. So the adjective that is used in the sentence, that is enough, will be classified as adjective of quantity because it is used with an uncountable noun. Next example is these are not enough plates. There are not enough plates. Here we can see that the word plates is a countable noun. So the adjective that is used in the sentence, that is enough, will be classified as adjectives of number because it is used with countable noun. Next example is please have some milk. Here we can see that milk is an uncountable noun. So the adjective that is used in the sentence, that is some, will be classified as adjectives of quantity. Next one is some girls are playing tennis. Here we can see that girls are countable noun. So some will be classified as adjectives of number. Now let's move forward to next type of adjective, that is demonstrative adjectives. The adjectives that tell us which particular thing or person we refer to is known as demonstrative adjectives. It is similar to demonstrative pronouns. So when demonstrative pronouns like this, that, these, those are used before a noun, they do the work of a demonstrative adjective. Example is like, this room is bigger than that. Here we can see that a demonstrative pronoun, that is this, is used before a noun to denote to it. That's why it is acting as a demonstrative adjective. Next example is, those pictures are lovely. Here we can see that a demonstrative pronoun, that is those, is used before a noun to denote to it. That's why it is acting as a demonstrative adjective in the sentence. Next type is distributive adjective. The adjectives that refer to each one of a number are called distributive adjective. It is also similar to distributive pronouns. Like when distributive pronouns like each, every, either and neither are used before a noun, they do the work of a distributive adjective. Example is like, each soldier was well armed. Here we can see that a demonstrative pronoun each is used, but it is used before a noun. That's why it is acting as a distributive adjective in the sentence. Next example is, every boy was given a uniform. Here we can see that the word every is a distributive pronoun, but it is used before a noun to refer to each number of the boy. That's why it is acting as a distributive adjective in a sentence. Next type is interrogative adjectives. Interrogative pronouns that are used along with nouns to ask questions are called interrogative adjectives. Example is like, which pen do you want? Here we can see that which is an interrogative pronoun, but it is used with a noun to ask a question. That's why it is acting as an interrogative adjective in the sentence. Next example is, what truth is there in his story? Here we can see that what is an interrogative pronoun, but it is used with a noun, that is truth. That's why it is acting as an interrogative adjective in the sentence. Next example is, whose house is that? Here we can see that whose is also an interrogative pronoun, but it is used with a noun to ask the question. That's why it is acting as an interrogative adjective in the sentence. Next type is possessive adjective. The adjective that show possession or belonging are called possessive adjective. Example is like, his name is Jagat. Here we can see that his is used before a noun to show the possession. Next example is, the bird broke its wing. Here we can see that wing is a noun and its is used before a noun to show the association of the wing with the bird. With this, we are done with main types of adjectives. But there are also some other forms of adjectives. So let's learn about those and some points related to them. So the first one is classifying adjectives. The adjectives that identify the class that something belongs to are called classifying adjectives. So when an adjective identifies the class that something belongs to or tells the type of something, it is known as classifying adjectives. So these adjectives can only be used in attributive position, that is before the noun in the sentence. Example is like, the patient was suffering from abdominal pains. Here we can see that the word abdominal is identifying the type of the pain that the patient was suffering. Next example is, the mansion has an indoor pool. In this sentence, the word indoor is describing the type of pool that the mansion has. Next form is proper adjectives. The adjectives that derived from proper nouns are called proper adjective. So sometimes some type of proper noun are also used as adjectives in a sentence. So that's why they are known as proper adjectives. They are always begin with a capital letter. Example is like Priya is an Indian citizen. Here we can see that Indian is a proper noun, but in this sentence it is acting as an adjective that is describing about the citizen. That's why it is known as proper adjective. Next example is the Australian batsman played well. Here we can see that even though the word Australian is a proper noun, but in this sentence it is modifying the noun that is batsman in the sentence. That's why it is called proper adjective. Next type is color adjectives. Some adjectives tell us the color of things. Example is like she has green eyes. Here we can see that green is telling the color of eyes. Next example is Shruti has bought a blue dress. Here we can see that blue is describing or telling us the color of the dress, that it is blue. Next point is sometimes by using adjectives like light, dark and pale before color words, we can describe colors more precisely. Examples are like he has dark brown eyes. Here we can see that dark is used before a color word that is brown to describe the color of the eyes more precisely. Next example is Kavita is wearing a pale green shirt. Here we can say that the word pale is used with the color word green to describe the color of the skirt more precisely. Next point is by using the suffix ish with colors, we can indicate that these colors are like, almost like or similar to colors. Example is like she wore a pinkish shirt. Here we can see that the color of the shirt is similar to pink, but it is not completely pink, but it is similar to pink. Next example is the building has grayish wall. Here we can see that the building has grayish color wall, that it means that it has a similar color to gray. Next point is by adding the names of fruits, vegetables, flowers and precious stones before the color adjectives, we can indicate more clearly the shade we want to specify. Example is like she bought an emerald green silk scarf. Here we can see that by adding a name of precious stone, that is emerald, before the color adjective, we are indicating the shade which we want to specify in the sentence, that is emerald green. Next example is I wish to buy a cherry red sari. Here we can see that the word cherry is the name of a fruit that is used before a color adjective that is red to specify the shade we want to mention about the sari. Next point is color adjectives like red, green and blue may end in er or est when they are used to compare between different shades. Example is like her eyes were redder than usual. Here we can see that the word red is ending with er to compare the color or different shades of red. Next example is one sees some of the greenest scenery in Kerala. Here we can see that green is ending with in est to show or to compare between the different shades of green. Next type is emphasizing adjectives. Emphasizing adjectives are used to express a stronger degree or intensity of a quality or characteristic. They add emphasis and impact to the description of noun. Example is like this is the very dress I wanted. Here we can see that very is putting or adding emphasis to the dress which I wanted. Next example is I saw the mishap with my own eyes. Here we can see that the word own is putting emphasis on the word eyes, that I have seen the mishappening with my own eyes. Here is a note. A few adjectives ending in ing are used in very informal spoken English for emphasis, usually to indicate disapproval or contempt. Most of these adjectives are used with a particular noun or adjectives after them. Example is like freezing cold. Here we can see that freeze is ending with ing to put the emphasis on the word cold, that it is so cold. Next example is stinking place. Next one is scalding heat, and so on. Next type is pronominal adjectives. Adjectives that have the same form as some pronouns but are used to modify nouns are called pronominal adjectives. Let's have a look at these examples. This is his chair. Put the books on that table. Which novel are you reading now? Here we can see that the word his, that, which are all pronouns, but in these sentences they are used to modify nouns, that is chair, table and novel respectively. So that's why in these sentences they are acting as an adjective and they are known as pronominal adjectives. Next type is participial adjectives. When a present participle or a past participle is used as an adjective, it is known as participial adjectives. Let's have a look at these examples. First one is Rama is a charming lady. Next one is they have moved into a furnished apartment. Next one is the fallen tree is home to a number of creatures. In these sentences, the words charming, furnished and fallen are present participle or past participle forms of words, but these words are used as a adjective in the sentences. That's why they are known as participial adjectives. Next point is some participial adjectives are not formed from verbs. They are formed from nouns. Example is like bearded man, gifted children, neighboring villages, skilled craftsman. Here we can see that the word bearded, gifted, neighboring, skilled is all adjectives, but these are formed from nouns. Next point is there are some ed adjectives which are not related to verbs or nouns in the ways described in the previous points. Example is like a beloved child, ashamed behavior. Here we can see that the word beloved and ashamed are not related to verb nor nouns. Next point is some ed adjectives do not make sense on their own. An adverb is necessary to complete the sentence. Examples are like a carefully worded script, strongly motivated public, powerful willed man. Here we can see that the word worded, motivated or built is not making sense on their own. That's why an adverb like carefully, strongly and powerful are used to complete the sentence. With that, we are done with all types or forms of adjectives. So let's have some practice question. The question is to find the error in the sentences and to rewrite the sentences correctly. For these questions, I will be telling you the answers now, but I request you all to pause the video and find the errors in the sentences and rewrite the sentences correctly, then match the answers. The first question is, there is many talk going on about postponing the sports day. Here we can see that the word talk is used as a noun to refer to conversation or discussion. Hence, it is used as an uncountable noun. But many is used to denote to countable nouns. So, the use of many with talk, which is an uncountable noun, is the error in the sentence. So, the correct answer for this question would be, there is much talk going on about postponing the sports day. Next question is, I was much miles away from the sea. Here we can see that miles is a countable noun, but the use of much, which is used to denote to uncountable noun, is the error in the sentence. Hence, the correct answer for this question would be, I was several miles away from the sea. The third question is, either side were satisfied with the judgment. Here we can see that either is used, so the verb that should be used in the sentence should be in singular form because either represents a singular form. That's why the correct answer for this question would be, either side was satisfied with the judgment. Next question is, each student needs to come on time. Here we can see that each is used, which represents singular form, but the use of students is representing a plural form. That's why the error is the use of plural form. The correct answer for this question would be, each student needs to come on time. Next question is, many effort has been wasted in this project which has failed miserably. Here we can see that the word effort is an uncountable noun, but the use of many that is used to denote to a countable noun is the error in the sentence. So the correct answer for this question would be, much effort has been wasted in this project which has failed miserably. Next question is, only a little people came to the meeting. Here we can see that the use of little with people is the error because little is used to denote to a small amount and it is used with uncountable nouns, but people are countable nouns. So in this context, the correct word to use would be few. So the correct answer for this question would be, only a few people came to the meeting. The next question is, he has a smile face. Here we can see that the use of smile face is the error in the sentence because smile face is not denoting or specifying anything about the face. So it should be smiling. So the correct sentence for this question would be, he has a smiling face. Next question is, I could not get several sugar. Here we can see that the use of several with sugar, that is an uncountable noun, is the error in the sentence because several is used to denote to countable nouns. That's why the correct answer for this question would be, I could not get any sugar because any is used to refer to the amount of uncountable nouns. With that, we are done with all the questions. These are the answer of these questions. You can match them after trying yourself. So thank you so much for joining me in this session, and do follow all social handles of LegaLift, and all the very best.